Guys, today we are going to discuss on the topic of planning a field trip to an unknown place. So here are some important things that everyone needs to know in order for this class to go smoothly. First, activities will be sent on the platform you are signed into. It could be Google Classroom or Moodle. During this video, I will only show the sections on Google Classroom. But don't worry because all assignments, documents, and sections will be displayed with the same names on both, so you will be able to find them. Also, every time that you see the IPA symbols under a word, you have to repeat the word after me. I'll of course get quiet for a moment so that you can do that. And here, as you can see on my screen, we have one example for the words field trip. And that's where you would say the word again after me. Next, all assignments that you send will be revised and you will receive feedback from me. Also, you will get extra points on Class Dojo. For that, you do have to enroll to my class, and in Google Classroom as well as in Moodle, you have the document that is going to lead you to joining Class Dojo on my class. And finally, there will be some optional extra activities. If you turn them in, you'll get extra experience points. And the students who has the most will get an extra point in their quiz. Right, so moving that aside, what will we do today? First of all, we're going to discuss what a field trip is. Also, we are going to look at the steps to planning a field trip as well as some important vocabulary. We are going to discuss the imperatives, the definition, the types, the intonation, and the stress. Also, we will discuss the future tense and the modals. And finally, you are going to make a project or a final product, which is a quest. You are going to find a place in a map by following some instructions. You are going to plan a trip to that place, and you're going to make a video sharing your field trip plan for that place. So let's get started, guys. What is a field trip? Remember, every time that we see the IPA symbols, you are going to repeat the word after me. Field trip. It is a trip made by students or research workers to study something at first hand. So here are the steps to planning a field trip and some vocabulary related to these different steps. First, you have to select the field trip destination. Also, you have to think, how will you get there? How will you come back? How will you move around when you're there? And here's some vocabulary. Airport, airplane, flight attendant, board, bus station, cab, taxi, currency, fare, immigration officer, luggage, map, subway, take off, Uber. Also, guys, one quick reminder, if you do not understand any of the words that I just mentioned or any of those that I will mention next, you can look them up in a dictionary or online just to make sure that you have the right understanding of the word. And then here we have our second step, which is set dates and length of stay. Also, you have to think, where will you stay? And here we have more vocabulary. Check in, check out, hotel, motel, hostel, Airbnb. Finally, you have to decide on the things that you need to take there. This time we have all of the pictures and vocabulary here. So just take some time. You can pause the video if you want to take a look at it. And of course, there are quite more things that you could add. So if there's anything else that you can think of, well, it is something that you need to do. You need to look for more vocabulary if you think it's needed, depending on the place that you are trying to go. All right, now let's take a look at the imperatives. So this is something that you have worked before ever since the first year of secondary. So it should not be new to you. So think, guys. Try to remember what the imperatives are. Get a piece of paper and write down anything that you can remember from it. You can pause the video. When you are done writing down what you remember, send a picture through any of the platforms that we discussed. I'm going to show you Google Classroom right now. So of course, as you can see here, we have this area, which is the tablón. You can find many things that I have posted. But the one you should be looking for is in trabajo de clase, because it is an assignment, it's an activity, and you will be looking for you will be looking for the photo imperatives. This is actually not needed, so I'm gonna get rid of it, guys. There we go. So you're just gonna enter there and you're going to simply attach your photo. Okay, you can pause the video now. All right, guys, very good. So let's take a look at the imperatives. Let's just have a short review about the topic. So imperatives are verbs used to give orders, commands, warning, or instructions. And if you use please, you can make a request. To make the imperative, you can use the infinitive of the verb without to. For example, come here, sit down. To make a negative imperative, you can put do not or don't before the verb. For example, don't go, do not walk on the grass. You can also use let's before the verb if you are including yourself in the imperative. The negative of let's is let's not. For example, let's have some lunch, let's not argue. Now, something important to know when we are dealing with imperatives is that every type of imperatives need to have a different stress and intonation. So let's take a look at the orders. The intonation of an order is important. Each word is stressed and the tone falls at the end of the sentence. For example, sit down now. Sit, down, and now are all stressed. Sit down. And the tone falls down on now. Now. Sit down now. Can you hear that? Now let's take a look at warnings. You can use the imperative to warn someone of danger. All the words in the warning are stressed. but the last word has a higher tone than the first word. Sit down now. Watch out. Look out. Don't cross. Can you hear that? Now let's take a look at the advice. When you give advice using the imperative, the words are stressed normally. For example, don't tell him you're resigning now. Wait until Monday until he's in a better mood. Don't drink alcohol. Don't eat heavy metals. Finally, we have requests. You can also use the imperative to make a request, but you should use a polite word before the verb, which I mentioned before. You can say please for this. For example, please take a seat. Please wait here. Please hold the line. Please don't smoke here. Alright guys, now let's take a look at the future tense. This is, again, something that you have worked with before, ever since the beginning of your secondary school. So try to think about the topic and write one sentence in the future tense structure. When you're done, again, go to the section I showed you and post a picture of the sentence that you wrote down. Also, if you do not remember the topic or the structures, you can go to Google Classroom under the section Tablón and you will find the structures there. Okay, right now it's not loading, but when you go there, it will load. There we go. So let's review it a little bit. So we can give instructions in the future tense. And these are a few examples. You will need to take a flashlight. You will have to take some sunscreen with you. You will be required to move around the city on the subway.